last meeting. So welcome back from summer holidays. We've got one holiday, I understand, due to floods, but we'll go through apologies for happens now.
Thank you. We just want to see what can we say as we do our listening.
Thank you. Two declarations of interest. Members are reminded at the start of every meeting that if you have a personal or personal declaration of interest in any topic as we talk about it, please do indicate as we discuss it or now. Do any members wish to raise a declaration of interest?
Thank you. I'm not quite sure if it's of interest. I work with Banking Group and they provide a treasury service. We declared as an interest from day one, so I'd mention it anyway.
It's worth mentioning just for transparency. Yeah, we won't affect your ability.
There's nobody else, so we shall move swiftly on to the minutes of the last meeting, for which we have the 16th and 21st of July. Are members happy to accept those as a true and accurate account of those meetings? I'm yet to hear any comment or feedback to suggest they're not, but if they are, please indicate now and we can correct them for the next meeting. Members happy to approve them as noted? Yeah. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 4 is members of the public forum, of which there are none tonight.
The bus just parking outside you.
Do we have any written public questions?
Thank you, Chair. No questions received.
Right. Moving swiftly on to item 5. Just before we start that item, just to give a quick update to members where we did ask at the last meeting for a task group to talk about management companies and developers. Fortunately, the director is not able to schedule any meetings with anybody on that topic until the 30th of September. So 2.5 months after the meeting. That has been raised as acceptable, but we're going to have to see how we proceed on that, because it will be a significant lag for that task group to report back to this committee. We're also going to be talking on today's agenda about an update on the Section 19 flood report. I understand that has not been signed off, so it is not being for us tonight. So again, that will also have to be bumped to a future meeting. Item 5 is the scrutiny of the budget management outturn, the request of Councillor Davis, and we're all happy to support it. So we'll open it up to the cabinet member wishes to say anything.
The report's accurate to you.
Okay. Do any members of the committee want to ask any questions? Perfect.
So I guess the reason for bringing this was to get more of an overview of the sort of future budgets as well and the sort of perspective there. I understand it's moving to a 3-year fair funding. Can you give an overview of what effect that might have on the budgeting process?
Like any government announcement of any government colour, when it comes to local government funding, nothing is certain until the last minute when they actually announce the provisional settlement, which usually is just before Christmas. Although the government, because of this 3-year funding promise, which they are doing the work to deliver on, they are hoping to have that, I think, earlier this year because of the changes. If the initial assessments that have been made from the fair funding predictions and all the calculations that we've been presented, and this is by the professionals within the local government sphere, we could be benefiting over a 3-year period with an increase in our grant funding of £12 million. This will be phased over, which they talk about phasing in these problems because they will be losers. A lot of the London boroughs will be losing. And so over the next 3 years, you'll see probably a 4 million increase next year, followed by another 4, then another 4 in the following year. Or it's actually just then this will be 3 point something. I think the talk today. That's what the latest intelligence are. What's his space? But we are starting our preparations based on that information, which is good news for us.
Yeah. So to follow up on that, so I don't think there'll be much of an impact on the process this year? Will they say, as you say, nothing until December? Do you think in future years there'll be more of a more earlier consideration of what the budget might be, or will it still be in that sort of 2 or 3 months just before?
The budget takes, in the sense of the administration side of it, there are some, there's a lot of prep work before it gets to the public stages, and that's when you're looking at what the wages cost is going to be for the year, what the inflation costs are going to be for the year, and the predictions of service pressures. All those things are taken into consideration, and they're built up over the year. And then we'll look at if we need to, if there's any savings that have to be made, how we're going to identify those savings to consider. So all those sort of work goes ahead. A lot of work that's done by senior officers in preparing especially in the savings delivery area. Then that won't change, and nor will the fact that we've got to have a balanced budget over that each year. I think what would have been useful is if with a 3-year settlement, it would have mean a change in legislation, but the local government could have had a 3-year budget cycle themselves. So therefore, they could have planned to look to deliver over a 3-year period of balanced budget, rather than having to do it every year. In year one would have been more sort of even more flexibility to local government spending, but that would have made a major change to local government finance. So the fact that we know what we're getting for the next 3 years is a bonus. It's the first time in a long time that local government has been in that petition. It was promised by the Labour government at the general election, and then they're delivering on that.
Yeah, nothing much more really. Just to say that it seems like it usually came in with a making the budget. Is there any sort of follow-up indications for future for whether we're going to be able to meet the budget for this year and so on?
Well, as you know, I mean, so this time last year we were starting to things were looking in the sense we were going to the red, and the budget sort of slowly got worse. Then we were able to put it back. And some of the things that the lessons that we were trying to learn for this year's budget planning is to where some of the spirit, I wouldn't say spearman is the wrong, but if I use that term just in its loose concept, spare money within the budget is for that particular year. And one of the prime examples would be that you would have a vacancy because somebody's resigned and gone on to another job, so the post is empty for 3 months. That's not until for that there's been no cost. That's not been taken out of the budget until later in the year. So what we're doing is a lot more proactive work in things like that to say, right, you've now got saving in your budget. We know it's going to be there. You're not going to spend that whatever happens until the new person comes in 3 months' time or whatever. There's a saving within your budget, so they can be identified. Also, what we're working on is trying to do predictions. Things like in children's services, with children going into care, that can't be done as easily as that. What I am trying to push towards, though, is looking to not make have to be sudden impact on the budget. There are a lot of young people who unfortunately come into care that we know that maybe 6 weeks before that the alarm bells are ringing that young person or that young family may be a potential in a few weeks' time may have to come into care. And if we start the process of finding that care provision, identifying where it is, then when the alarm bell does finally go, in the sense of that the care is the only option available to us as an authority, that we've got alternatives than the very expensive care options, which sometimes happens with the emergency care. So it's working on things like that, which is the director is looking at the present time, and other lessons where we've maybe identified over the year where we get money back at the last minute is anyway identified. And one of those examples, the NHS money we get to support some of the adult social care funding, which comes in very late, and which you can't predict until you get that money. Is there another way of actually being able to predict that earlier so we can adjust the budgets? Because it does look like we're in trouble. We're not going to balance the vote, and then suddenly we do. Yeah. And it's because of these big late factors coming in.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Sumner, then Adams.
Chair, and it's a welcome piece of news in terms of the 3-year settlement. It is clearly planning a lot better, as you said. But my understanding is also that, as you mentioned, London boroughs will have fared worse or likely fared worse. We'd be unhappy about that, but we don't actually know yet what our settlement is in terms of that additional funding. We could be on the winners or losers track. We don't know yet for certain, do we?
No, not as I said in the beginning, no, we don't 100% know yet. And all the information that's been so far coming out, and that's been put into for these professional, shall we say, calculators, working on what we as Swindon would be qualified to sit for, have been offering this service. I'm pretty sure Sit not is a similar recognisable organisation, and the figure that we're coming up with is around about the 11-12 million pounds over the 3-year period. Again, as I said, Gary, is that we won't know until probably Christmas Eve, if anything like in the past, what the actual figure is. Hopefully we'll be around that figure, if not better.
Yeah, that would also be welcome news, and also you alluded to the pressure in children's care, and yeah, that is really relevant. Because I recently had a conversation. We had a number of children who were on a care plan, off a care plan, back on a care plan, and eventually had to take a decision to bring them into care, and obviously that's a significant financial pressure. But it's obviously not something that's easily avoided. And you obviously also, statements have been made about, very one in the press today about buying a children's home, obviously bringing in an operator to run it. And obviously that's something that we've had in the past, and I'm pleased to see it's coming forward, although obviously we're still paying a care company to run it, so that will still have a financial pressure.
On that at the moment is, I think for your first part, I think if we can just work into the system and you talk about the care plans, if you've got a young person or a young family that they're on that care plan, and is there a way that we can buy into the system early, like so we get that we can reserve places which we might need it within a local care facility rather than having to go to we know in Newcastle example, or to a more expensive one because they usually have more the specialist care provision. We're having to use them. That's something I'd like to see us try and investigate. Is there a way of savings by being more proactive before the young persons need to come into residential care? On the second part, yes, we allocated £20 million of capital within the programme to look at the options of additional care home facilities. I think this one we're looking at is capital side is around 800 million. So there's still plenty of options. This is the trial to see that if it works. I think it will, but we're not rushing into it. And we'll provide about 4 spaces for young people in the Swindon area. So that has to be the way forward. The way for my only worry is that we are giving it to the private sector, and it's nothing to do with my ideology of privatisation. I think it's the fact that local authorities in general are being milked. I'm not going to say this was stronger, but milked on what prices are being charged for young people's care, and we've got to try and reverse that. And maybe local authorities getting back directly into the market is the only way to challenge that monopoly. We are looking at a possibility of a cooperative as an alternative. As I said, that's only looked at the moment. There's nothing else certain or concrete. At the moment, probably the most logical option will be a private sector provider. But we are concerned that would just add to the problem of high cost if it's done to somebody that has the same principles as many of the other providers.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Nice use of the word milk there. In one of these meetings, I used the word shakedown and ended up in the newspaper, so I'll use milking there, milking in the future. My main question really focuses around the sale of assets. I just wanted more information around the current sale of assets. Are we getting the are we potentially getting the revenue that we were looking to get from those? And also with the 3-year thing mentioned in mind, are we looking at ending that programme, or are we still looking at continuing selling assets moving forward to try and cover shortfalls?
All I can say to you is I'm not going to say too much on market values and the else because it affects anything, if you understand. But I'm very comfortable with the capital receipts that we received, particular assets recently that have come back from the side on the dotted line.
Okay.
It's probably the best way, but if you want to talk offline, I'm more than happy to give you a little bit more explanation. As for, as you know, as part of this year's budget, there is the use of, we will use capital receipts to support this year's budget. We are trying our best to reduce that figure from the 14.7 to down to a lower figure, if not completely wipe it out. I think that will be a challenge, and we will carry on working on it as the year goes on. And but we've identified the capital receipts needed to bridge the gap if required.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I just 3.36 regarding the planetarium. There is at the second line from the paragraph. It says final 45k per annum as a result of gases currently not being filtered.
Right. Yes.
So,
I'm going to make Kingston, sorry.
Pardon?
I'm going to make Kingston, yes. Yeah.
Section 3.36. So can I know how long have we been paying this fine? Number one.
I can't answer that off the top of my head. I think it's a couple of years. Don't know if you know.
I don't know exactly. I'll take it.
We've just paid this year's, as that was as part of the report.
And who are we paying this to?
The Environment Agency or the government, because it's a fine for the emissions. Because
It's been going on for a few years.
it's not that long. It's probably to do with, I think it's to do with COVID and the fact that one of the burners got arrested for a period, and then when it started back up again, that was when the emissions were a problem.
So how
I'm not
soon,
100%
so how soon are we looking to get this sorted?
The money's been approved for it to carry out, so we'll just go through the normal tendering processes, and it will be that one we go out and be that one. We don't expect to be paying a fine next year.
Okay. Can I get it written how long we've been paying this fine for, please?
I'm happy to provide that answer. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we'll ask a couple. No? Fairly quiet tonight, so I guess we'll want to finish early. First question for Councillor Small. Since Councillor Davis did start with the fair funding consultation, did the council submit any Swindon response before the deadline on the 15th of August?
Yes, we did.
It's possible to share that with the committee, please.
I don't see why not, unless there's any reason why I can't. I will do.
Thank you.
Give me 6 months.
Maybe 7.
No, only 6.
The outturn, which is meant to be today's topic, is a lot of it around budget performance against what was predicted back in February 2024. I think my main question is on, at that time, we were looking at 6.7 million on reserves, since that's the deficit. The final outturn is 5.064 for reserves, which is obviously a positive that we're talking more about, because we've actually done better than the budget prediction. How do you square that deficit with claiming 685,000 underspend against the budget?
There was no deficit in the budget.
So
it was a surplus of 685,000.
So we did not use 5 million of reserves.
No, you are trying to use a different terminology. If you want to use that terminology, then we use the terminology that the last 6 years of Conservative administration had budget deficits of £28 million. But you wouldn't want to agree with that. And we budgeted to use £5 million of council money to use as part of the budget process for this year. So therefore, the budget itself is a balanced budget, which was agreed in February of the previous year, and it has come within budget actually with a surplus of £600,000.
I've got slightly different figures provided by officers in the past, and that particularly when it comes to the impact of COVID. However, I'm just looking
I
at,
think you look at my reply to the request, I did give you the virtue of saying COVID was included in those figures. Well, that was only 8 million. If you want to use it without COVID, it was
I'm just looking at
20 million.
budget performance and your report, which clearly says that there's 5 million of reserves being used. So we're spending more money than we have as income. That's effectively what this report is saying, and yet the other side of it is saying that you've got 685 surplus. So do you think that's a fair representation to be covering?
The budget had a budget had a surplus of 685,000 at the end of the year.
Please could you provide the total income for the council through grants, property, various other income forms, and the total expenditure for the year?
That's already available to you on the actual income was shown as part of the budget planning for the we've done the budget back in 2024.
Which is showing a 5 million deficit.
No, it's not.
Okay, my official request therefore is to provide a written confirmation
We'll
of
give you
total income, total expenditure,
Yeah.
please.
You'll find here that the budget, as in local government finance regulations, as you carried out while you were in administration, suggested the budget, and we clearly said the budget had a surplus of 685,000. You can address it where you want, you can try and make as much political capital as you want, but you find yourself barking up the wrong tree because you have done exactly the same as you when you were in administration. The use of reserves to help bring us to a balanced budget.
With respect, I'm just talking about the report that's in front of us.
Well, I'm giving you my answer, Chair. It's clear that you're trying to create something which isn't there because you're trying to score something because you're desperate to try and find something to go on this administration, where they're carrying out the same practice that your administration, when you were a member of the cabinet, done and spent £20 million to back up the budget over a 6-year period, and if you include COVID, it's 28 million.
Next, the council accounts for 24-25 show a £90 million reduction in the value of the council that isn't covered by this budget. Are you concerned the documents in front of us don't show council as a fair representation of what's happened to the net worth of the borough?
This is normal accounting procedure, Chair.
And are you concerned about the £200 million of borrowing plus that is being undertaken by administration, which will reduce the council's net worth by over a third over the next 5 years?
We all have to commit to borrowing. Councils all the time. You yourself, in part of your administration, borrowed money. You borrowed a lot of money to support the Whitchell Stowe, and also you borrowed a lot of money to provide a new car park on the old former police station. So we can all say where we borrow money, and we borrow money for certain areas, and one of those is we're going to be borrowing money to support providing a new children's home facilities for young people in Swindon, and I think that's money well spent here.
Okay, thank you. So you're not concerned about the asset base of the council versus liabilities in any shape or form?
I'm quite comfortable with the budget at the present time, thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Anything else from members? No. Okay, I'm happy to note the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair.
Moving simply item on to item 6, which we cannot talk about because the report hasn't been approved by the cabinet member. This was on the floor plans in May. Item 7 is the Armed Forces Champion Report. Would Councillor Ali like to introduce this, please?
As a report, Chair.
Any questions for Councillor Ali? Councillor Wilson.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I would like to thank Councillor Ali and officers for the report. I thought it was very well written report, and I actually attended the discussion park, and I thought it was a very well organized event. So I would like to congratulate the Armed Forces champion for doing the event. I would like to ask if there are any plans in the pipeline for the next year.
As on the report, Chair, as we are planning to have one next year. I think the date has been agreed, but all the logistics is we will start preparation probably for end of this month or October. So trying to get a committee together to start planning for next year.
Just a quick follow-up. Do you plan to do any sort of like a consultation or engagement from the members in preparation for the event?
We would love all members to have a feedback and engagement in the Armed Forces Day next year, because that, I think, was lacking. If we had all members participating, it would be, I think, even great events for volunteering. We did have, yourselves and other members volunteering with officers as well. And if we could have a greater number, I think that would make it really beneficial to the event.
Yeah, thank you. That sounds very positive. And it's good to hear that you actually thought about preparations for next year. Thank you.
Davis?
Just a quick one. Since the report was written, have you heard back from the MP regarding the Armed Forces Covenant?
Unfortunately, not yet, but I'll chase it again after the reshuffle. I don't know who's still in post, so I will fire that email again.
Anything else? Okay, well, I'll ask a couple of questions. I just wanted to say congratulations to the officer team in particular for organising the Lydiard Armed Forces Day. I think they did a really good job having attended it. So we as a committee are happy to note and formally pass on our thanks for the efforts they put involved in that. Alongside them there, I think that's something we don't normally do enough of, and she did a good job on that. So
I did, on the press release, Chair, I did mention that. The press release was going to say congratulations to the Armed Forces champion. I said no, this is an effort by officers and volunteers. It's credit to everyone.
Absolutely. We last received a report back in April, I think it was actually May's meeting, so it's the second update since then. Have you seen any improvement in your support for the role?
To be blunt, no. But we are having, a position still like now we do have a lead in Helena Robinson in the council. And as I said, I think the chief executive had a call out to all the officers, and I had a few approaches who are volunteering to help. And that's why my plan to achieve our bronze standard is, as I said, we have got some officers who could help us with that. So I think over time we need more people involved in this, and each head of departments and senior officers need to understand what we have signed up for in the Armed Forces Covenant. Because once we get more departments and more senior officers understanding that, that's why I think my first report, I wanted more people to have training on that, so they understand what is the covenant we signed up. It's not just tick box exercise. And where I started last October to now, yes, it's improving, but we are still a long way to go.
Okay.
And I'm having those conversations, and I think meeting like this and bringing a report and saying where we are helps. So I think we need more call out from the chief executive and leader of the council to go out and say we really need more people to step up. And I don't know how you get the training so people do understand, because a lot of people don't understand what the covenant means and what we should be delivering.
So using this committee as a vehicle to assist, what would be the ideal way for confidence in at least delivering phase one, which you said is 0 to 3 months? Is it around recommending members and officers go for more training, a drop-in session, a 30 minutes something to highlight things like covenant and what we're doing? What would actually make a difference to this work rather than just noting it tonight?
As I have mentioned, the action plan, that's what would be required. So any kind of training, any kind of proactiveness would go towards our bronze recognition. So we signed up in 2021. And we are not unique. There's others who signed up, but they haven't even got, that should have been our basic standard to bronze, then to go to silver, to the gold. So without even being bronze, we are nowhere there. If you look at the government websites and everything else, we are nowhere there. So people, we need to partner with businesses as well and other local partners, which we haven't yet. So that would then lead us that way if we, within 3 months, if we can get the bronze application. Bronze application is quite straightforward. We have done we started with signing the covenant, and now we've got basic steps in place. All we need to is just step up a little bit and get that, and then to the next one. So it would help, tremendously if we can get this to the chief executive and all the departments to just put a little bit of effort when we can get there.
Okay. Are members happy to see a recommendation around this so we can get it flagged up with both the members, but also with the executive group, that we want to take this seriously and just ask for a small amount of time, because this isn't something that needs hours and hours and hours or a lot of preparation for it, but it is a focused period of time to achieve.
Absolutely, Chair, and I will be trying to work with other people who've been there and done it. So we do have one officer in HR who's, I think, did the gold award. So we do have people there. It's just reaching them and finding out from them, because the person reached out to me didn't know we were signed up to the covenant. So after the chief executive call out to all the staff, she came forward. So I think we might have a lot of staff there who don't know this. And if we have a call out and say, who can please help out to achieve this basic step, which we should have been there already. But I don't know, with COVID, whatever's happened, we haven't been able to. So I'm doing my utmost, Chair. I've just had a contact with another organisation. I'll be meeting them in 2 weeks' time to help out as well, because they came through the mayor's office. So there are a lot of things happening, but I'm learning every single day, and whatever I can do, I am doing. But we have to start with the basics. And I think once we get there, and if we have those set of steps in the plans in the council, whoever takes over, if I'm not here next year, whoever takes over, they've already got something in place to work from, where I've started with a blank canvas.
Positive. Just on those timelines, it looks like by the end of November, we expect to submit the bronze application for 0 to 3 months, and then silver prep is December to December. Is that my correct reading?
3 to 12 months silver is.
Yeah.
If everything goes to plan, Chair.
The reason I mention it is we've got a committee in March, which obviously is 4 months into that 3 to 12 month period. Would members be happy to receive an update on silver preparation, and in similar kind of ways, is there things that we as members can do to support the Armed Forces Champion in continuing progress, or actually we're off target when it comes to that 3 to 12 month period, more resources, or however need conversations?
If I have all the help, I'm more than happy to aim for that, Chair. But we'll see what happens.
Indeed.
Let's get the bronze first, and I'll doubt.
Absolutely. So unless there's nothing else to mention from members, any questions? No? Lisa?
Chair, I just wanted to seek some clarity about, there's a suggestion of recommendation to the chief executive. And I just wanted to be really clear about what specifically that was. Just for the purposes of the minutes, and to ensure that it fell within the remit of the committee also.
I think it's to support the activities of the Armed Forces Champion, and in phase 1, there's reaffirm the government commitment to online council materials. And I think where it's easy just to reaffirm something and vote for it, what we've kind of suggested is a 15-30 minutes training session for members and officers to attend that actually explains this is what it means in reality. So how do we bring it to life?
Chair, I think I have mentioned in the action plan what is required.
Yeah.
So that is from research from other authorities, what they've done to get to this level. It's not a rocket science, so.
We don't need to be at the will, do we? But we need to support you in making this
Yes.
happen.
And I'll do my utmost, Chair, but we'll see what happens.
So with that, happy to note the report with the additional recommendation that we can wordsmith as a delegation to community services in consultation with Councillor Ali and myself as chair and the deputy chair. Happy to accept that. That's a unanimous vote. Thank you. Annual scrutiny report is item 8. This is something we obviously go through every year and is very much a factual, what do you say, review. It's restating what scrutiny and policy committees have undertaken over the last 12 months. Do members wish to ask any questions, debate this in any way other than note it? Again, we'll kind of do a delegation to committee services in consultation with myself as chair and the deputy vice chair. In case any wordsmithing or amendments do arise. Happy to note. Thank you. Item 9 is the work programme. I said at the start of the meeting that the task group had not yet been held and is unlikely to in the next month, which is disappointing. So that remains an outstanding item to address. Once that task group does meet and we get through to the right point, lots of report back, we can't yet make a commitment on when it's going to report back. That's loud.
Apologies if I've missed this, but can I just clarify exactly why it's taken so long?
The director was unable to organise any meeting of the task group until the 30th of September. Councillor Wilson.
Just a quick question. How many people actually volunteer to participate in this task group?
I believe 6.
Okay.
So it's actually the most attended task group that I've certainly seen in recent years. It's quite it's a good number.
Thanks to this.
And that's just from members without necessarily any officers involved in it. But we haven't been able to get the officer support in that sense until the 30th of September. We're keen. There's that capacity one. Councillor Davis.
Just looking at November, and we've got dashboards and data on there. Were we going to do some prep on that one?
Indeed, and I think this is then again to a capacity. I'm not sure how we're going to be able to do anything on that until we get some traction over the next couple of weeks. I'll leave that with committee services and figure out how we're going to proceed. I know we've had a brief conversation a couple of months ago that we've had support from the Chief Executive's office to do something around BI reporting, but we haven't got that point yet. However, we do have that Section 19 flood report at this meeting if it is signed off in time. So we've got the 17th November public transport. It's that dashboards, data missions, legal council's annual report. 8th of December is the budget setting process, and then it's the periodic reports of policy committees. Is there anything else we want to talk about on that 8th December meeting? It's been a while since we've had a cabinet member scrutiny session. Is there a cabinet member that we can ask to come forward and talk about the performance of their portfolio, perhaps? We don't need to decide today because there is a future meeting, but there's certainly something there that, unless we're going to finish in 40 minutes again, we should make the best use of our time where possible. The 9th of February is quite light. It has the local plan update only. And then we've got the 9th of March is the Armed Forces Champion report, again, periodic reports and leading the councils. So certainly February and March are a bit light for agenda items at the moment. Okay, anyone happy to note or suggestions, please do come forward. Therefore, we will note the work programme. We've then got item 10, which is status of requests, of which we do have a fair few, and we'll continue to chase those services and officers. I'm assuming that it's because of the summer season that there's been a lack of response.
An updated action log, which I think we've received responses to those questions, to those sections. So that's each meeting.
There's nothing else on this other than to note, and I'm assuming everybody will note, so just kind of indicate or not. Thank you, unanimous. Therefore, I will close today's first meeting. Is it autumn now? So it's post summer in exactly 14